Wildflowers. This is a question and answer session from within Thoth's temple. This is the same spiritual space, mystery school, that has guided mystery schools in the world within humanity for thousands of years. The Elusinian Mysteries in Greece and the Rosicrucians in the Enlightenment were all led, inspired, transformed by the incredible work and connection with this school. This is part of bringing that back. And with this, I give you Thoth's temple.
Good morning.
Good to see you. Good morning.
Good to see you. It's another Thoth's Temple chat today, and we got so many just interest and feedback, so much feedback from the last session. So let's see what everyone has for today.
Absolutely.
Okay, you ready to jump in?
Yeah, let's just do a little heart breathing. I'm going to do a one breath key ring. Crown. Throat. Sacral. Nose tip. Solar plexus. Diamond eye. Lungs. Root. Chin. Navel. Third eye. Heart. Tuned in. Let's begin.
Okay, sounds good. We have a question from Jeremy. What does it look like to let go of the remembrance of separation, and can it be done easily?
Please appreciate much of the purpose of incarnating in a body is to give us the opportunity to be more within ourselves. This comes at certain extreme costs. We lose connection in so many ways. Yet we're learning to extend our connection and experience it on much deeper vibrations, denser. We are never truly separate. In the experience of incarnating in bodies, you forget, you start over, and you recenter in the material awareness. To reconceive the challenge as how do we connect from within the material experience, it becomes an opportunity to remember our soul within the body. He invites you to let go of preconceptions about what this experience will be like, and focus on dissolving false needs to hide, to believe you can hide. That is enough.
Was that a direct channeling?
I'm tuning into this space, and they're holding me, and I can sense the vibration fluctuate if my mind pulls me out of harmony.
That was really beautiful. The next question is from Claudia. How can one biohack the body to live longer, healthier, and more youthful life?
We discourage you from using a two-dimensional metaphor for a three-dimensional experience. The potentials are built in. It is activation, awakening. You need organic perceptions of yourself to appreciate the sacredness of the potential that has always been latent, is to recognize how to remove the safety latch on many capacities within you. And then to be reverent that if you cannot easily do so, there are good reasons. And to refocus your quest, setting aside the initial perception of your goal, and to broaden your awareness to be present with why the system is not honoring your requests yet. And thus the learning is the journey of it, and you will eventually recognize why you were drawn on this quest to begin with, and usually receive a deeper fulfillment. A computer is a simplified model of something you can create. Do not use it as a model for yourself, lest you lose the organic spiritual presence. That is enough.
It feels like they're speaking to a co-creation with the body and with spirit, and they're mentioning of organic spiritual connection in the fact that things grow and decompose, and it's a flow. And yes, we may be able to have a longer time of being in our bodies eventually, but yeah, it's not a dictatorship. The message I got from that.
Yeah, and it's a constant. There's a lot about extending our lifetimes, but they're gentle with it. The balance they encourage me to hold again and again is let it be kind of 6 of one, 1/2 dozen of the other, whether you learn to do it in this lifetime or the next.
Yeah.
If you don't learn to do it in this lifetime, there are good reasons. Be at peace with that.
Right.
But believe you might, because it keeps this like, whoa, going.
Yes. And that it might be a byproduct of other things as opposed to the focus.
It is more important that you resolve certain fundamental karmas than you achieve some kind of mental standard or conception of our potential.
Right. Interesting. The next question is, this was my question actually. What happens at the witching hour, and what are humans' participation in it?
For most of you, for many times, it would be most beneficial to simply skip from light to darkness. In the transition, you experience transitional energy. This gives you access to resonate with other transitions. Thus, with intention and focus, you can, during this time, slip between veils of perception. This is not valuable when you simply wander or are guided by traumatic resonance. This is helpful when you're ready to go into the shadow, be present with it, and learn to cleanse. Many opportunities are not available until you can focus enough on the vibration of them to let go of where you were. The transition from day into night and from night into day gives you this opportunity to intentionally explore shifting. It is valuable once you have done enough work to explore it with maturity. Ask yourself why you are fascinated, and be clear on what you will do if you get lost.
Mm.
There's more. There has been a strong no to using this time in many of the ways that are possible because it was so consistently misused that it was not worthwhile to leave these doors open in the human consciousness.
Mm.
And thus, those who have been restricted. It is indeed time to open this more. Be conscious and intentional. This is enough.
That's really cool. I didn't even think that it was a concept of even looking at our shadows at that time, or shifting into looking at our shadows. That's fascinating, and also a bit of a wake-up call, because I think the fun of some of these concepts of, you know, the witching hour and other time frames, even dawn, is exciting, and people can kind of go into it, myself included, with haphazard, you know, joyous excitement, and not have any conscious sort of reflection on how we might be getting lost, or, you know, just not necessarily being productive about it. So
yes,
yeah, that's very cool. I will do more research on that. Okay, Trevor asks, what were Ankhs used for? And I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. The Egyptian symbol.
They are not for the lazy or the faint of heart. Imagine you are flat and you learn to gain awareness of up. An Ankh connects energy out of you into a different plane and back into you. So it is a mechanism both of physical focus and meditative transition that enables you to access a dimension when you do not yet know how to recognize it. You're sending energy into the dimension and then learning to receive it back. So you identify with this aspect across, And then recognize the energy as it leaves you and learn to broaden your awareness to recognize it coming back. This is a way to prevent yourself from getting lost as you learn to be present through veils. You are receiving the return. So it's a clear intention to go into and come back. This is frequently used to recognize yourself beyond the veil of death.
Mm.
More. Trust them to use it wisely. They know how. They are accessing the memory of how to use it. And with the reverence of this, it is a crucial tool to maintain yourself in who you are now as you learn to recognize yourself from other lives. It will also guide you to pray into your next lifetime in a way that may liberate you to live longer in this one. Not enough. They will often be scared for talking to me. They will often be scared for the wrong reasons because they hold people who doubt more tightly than they hold their own hope. To stay focused on the Ankh is to go so deeply within yourself that you lose your doubt. This loss needs to be experienced as a liberation, and the grief in it should not overwhelm you. Do not indulge it. Let it be present and return your focus to the symbol itself and the recognition of its presence within the flow of energy it reinforces. Within you, heart, return, heart. That is enough.
Wow. Was it a tool then at the time, or was it simply a symbol?
Both.
I just had to take a minute. It was, I get the feeling like that's something that the Egyptians would have studied for lifetimes. The depth of what you were bringing through, can be taken on so many different levels. It was simply a tool, sure, or it was actually so much more than that.
It's strong to be with it like this. It's like, we have an incredible power to reinforce whatever we focus on. So we are prevented from even seeing a lot of things because once we see it, we reinforce it and it makes it dramatically more real.
Right.
So the Ankh is a key tool to transcend out of current limitations and do so. This return is what's so crucial. You're not just sending your energy into another space, but you're meditating it to return. So the tool is creating an energy channel with our mind, and as we imagine it, that channel exists, and the tool helps us reinforce it and bring it back into focus. So we stay there and don't get lost.
Yes.
Because as soon as you cross a veil and then focus on something 2 steps beyond, you're starting to link into that without necessarily having the perspective that is that a good thing to link into. Right. So you can think of it as like, a raised path through the woods.
Mm-hmm.
That's allowing animals to go under, so it's damaging the ecosystem less. And it's allowing you the security to say, when I'm on this path, I'm going to be okay. I won't be disturbing things and I'll be safer.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Yeah, that makes sense. The and obviously it wasn't human designed. It was designed others to,
there's
to
a
help.
universal truth to this. And the key presence that came through several times while you talked is to really, the people who are going to resonate with this the most have used it. Know how to use it.
Yeah.
I need to trust that as I share, because this will essentially reawaken that awareness and respect. A lot of the concerns, the guidance, the knowledge, the wisdom of how to handle it is in you. You've done this before.
I think that's what's so great about the work that you do, because you have a concern about how participants and members of the courses that you offer are going to take this information, and if they're going to be safe and how they're going to progress. And I just wanted to say I appreciate that about you. And yeah, but as they said, you know, the people called to your work are people that clearly the divine trust to move forward on the path. So
there's a reflection of that that's just like encouraging me to like to understand perspective, because a lot of people, some people, I don't know the percentages, are coming to this work without having learned from another school of thought. What we're doing is removing a lot of the safety obsession that master-based traditions use. This has been intentional, and I've been on this for over 20 years. I just don't think the layer upon layer of blockage and restraint and hyper caution is good. It's not good for people who are waking up on our own anyway.
Right.
People are awakening anyway. It's too late to prevent some of these rhythms from flowing. And so we're going to ride them. And so we're finding the balance between the Scylla and the Charybdis of too much and too little. Too much caution can be dangerous. You're going to manifest what you're afraid of. You're going to hesitate. You're not going to know how to move through and follow and trust your instincts when they are there for you. Because when you gain access to wisdom from another lifetime, it's like a trust fall. Like you have to step into it and let yourself breathe into, how the hell do I know how to do this? But I know how to do this.
Right. Yeah, that's powerful stuff. And to you know, not teach people how to trust when they do fall is also secrecy too, and that's not helpful either.
There was a time for it.
Yeah.
Now's not the time for it anymore.
Right. Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So anyone feeling called to explore more of the divine, come check out Wildflowerfire. Daniel's been working for decades on this, and it's his work with Thoth has created courses that you can do that can help you and guide you through that. So yeah, please go check it out. Okay, the next question. As we surrender to the divine will, how can one make it easier to let go of the feeling that they will no longer exist in the old way?
Enjoy the death of the old way. Death and life are not two different things. Death occurs because the presence of the new life starts to dance in the middle of your old way. It is a force of destruction because it is initiating something new. Before its presence, things were more peaceful and coherent. Its introduction is brutal in many ways. And yet if you recenter on this new life, it leads you right through the death and you shed it like a skin. And you identify more as the tree of your existence than the leaves or the flowers as they fall.
Right.
More. This is a space that often induces suicidal tendencies in those who are not conscious enough and do not trust enough to reach out for connection during these times. To over-identify with yourself as you were and conflate this ego with your body draws you towards the end of the ego, which is good, and confuses it for the end of your life in physical form. To embrace the draw, the siren song into this death, to appreciate why it is good to be drawn in this way, and yet maintain the mental restraint to say no to the confusion that you are your dying self, is to be drawn deeper in to hold the Ankh and know this as yourself. You are more spirit than physical form. And from this perspective, you recognize that the physical form is not being asked to die. Respect, appreciate your body in this way, because the transition is terrifying when you remain confused about the distinction between ego and body. The mind lives many seasons, creating an ego that thrives and falls like a flowering tree. Enjoy the seasons of this in your life.
Well, when you put it that way, it sounds much more pleasant. Yeah. But it can be scary for sure. And yeah, definitely community and reaching out and making sure that, you know, you have someone to talk to is important. So actually, you did a Tuesday class, I believe, talking about suicide and how some of those transitions are actually not physical death, but of movement forward with your spirit. And if anyone is curious about that, I would suggest that they check out Tuesdays to 10 o'clock the Eastern time. Daniel, yourself, you do a live, people can join and ask questions, and those topics are addressed, and it takes in daily life and it connects it to the divine and how it helps people sort of maneuver through the life they're in now. So just a little blurb on that. Okay, the next question is from Tom. A bit of an open question, but I think you can gauge the direction of it. He said, we're curious about the subject of magnetism.
You are composed of multiple layers of existence. It is most valuable to focus on mind, body, and spirit. This is a dramatic oversimplification purposefully. These points of focus reinforce themselves and harmonize with each other most easily. It is crucial to use 3 because when you use 2, you can bounce back and forth in a manner that is disharmonic. When you intentionally aim to harmonize 3, a far more coherent vibrational state emerges that is stable enough to trust. This harmony puts you in a position where your thoughts and feelings generate electromagnetic energy that more directly affects the physical plane. When you are not in harmony, this does not work nearly as well, and it acts as a safety mechanism to prevent you from intentionally evoking havoc around you. Once these forces, mind, body, and spirit, are in deeper harmony, your thoughts and feelings generate electromagnetic energy that will actually act to draw towards you or repel that which is out of tune with your coherent spirit. This does not work unless you are also attuned with the presence of magnetic forces from the earth. If you live in opposition to these forces, you are spending your capacity to generate reality in opposition to something that is, and you will lose all of it. The surrender to attune to the earth in this way can be a deep struggle because it feels so restrictive. You feel like you are locked to her, trapped. People fight this as a form of suffocation and yet lose the ability to activate the deeper power once you have accepted the magnetisms that are. I invite you into this. It's enough.
That's amazing. The earth herself, I mean, is she 3 points of magnetic force? I mean, if we're mind, body, and spirit, is she also a version of that?
There are 7 ranges that are more fundamental. Mind, body, and spirit are the 3 we are given most easy access to.
As a foundation.
Mucking around with the others is counterproductive until you get good with the 3.
Yeah. That's wild. So, I mean, of course, you know, the connection to the work and the Wildflowerfire courses is a direct practice and offering to connect mind, body, and spirit, and the 3 within the body that create the foundation to connect to the divine. I mean, that's so cool. And to think that you initially feel restricted by the earth, but that within the restriction you find freedom, I think is the message.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Would you get on a roller coaster without a safety bar?
Yeah. Yeah. So learn the mind, body, spirit connection. Yeah. And then you're good to go. Yeah.
And what's coming through strong, like reinforced, Daniel. When people think purely in terms of where they are and trying to attain, trying to reach something they call enlightenment or nirvana, you are here and you think over there. You've immediately gotten into this potential bouncing between 2 points. When you do 3, you're aiming for attunement. You're not leaving where you are, you're harmonizing 3. It's harder to harmonize 2. When you're harmonizing 3, though, you're bringing in the body along with its instincts, which means we're coming more to terms with our creature instincts. And people often think of that in a linear model, so below, above, which misses the point. The animal, the creature, is often more restrained than our spirit and mind would be.
Right.
The animal, the creature, often doesn't want to engage in physical intimacy or substance ingestion. It's our mind that makes that decision out of rhythm and harmony.
So you're saying the creature in us is actually more in tune?
No, the creature will puke if it ingests something it doesn't want. It'll say, don't do that to me.
Right.
I suffered the last time you did that.
Right.
But to give a different, deeper reverence to the creature, because the creature knows how to accept being on the earth. The creature knows how to retune us to being on the earth.
I get it. Yeah. And so much of spiritual discussion, and I'm generalizing, but so much of it is mind spirit, mind spirit, mind spirit, mind spirit, which is why people are constantly out in the stars and who are my star families and where did I come from? And just forgetting
and they bounce. They keep thinking that they experience temporary bliss of some form, but bliss is bliss. There's lots of kinds of bliss. And if it's simply a distraction from life challenges and you think you're falling back into normal, so you hierarchicalize it, you don't end up doing the work. You're just spiritually bypassing, trying to get out of your problems. So when you do this mind, body, spirit harmonics, the creature is often saying no before the mind and the spirit. The creature is often dictating the pace in a way that is deeply healthy. Retunes us to the magnetism of the earth. It does not occur to the creature to resist the fact it's in a body.
Right. Yeah. We just do that mentally with just life in general too.
Yeah.
And our bodies reflect that, right? Obesity and unhealthy habits and
Yes.
Wow. Okay, moving on from that, the next question are really Thoth related questions. What is you, Daniel, and or Thoth's vision of the future? And that's Emiliano who sent that in.
The 4U tour here is the culmination of history as you have known it. All of this has been work to set the garden. None of it has been true growth. You have grown and cut back and grown and cut back and grown and cut back because you grew too many hatreds, too many fears, too many pain-based ways. Thus Gaia taught you to compost them again and again. And none of it was wasted because it all created more soil, and way too much of it was painful. This is karmic. These eras occur to regenerate and regenerate until you learn to stop creating unhealthy patterns. The 4U tour exists beyond a time when many beings leave. Fewer beings clean up and create a new garden. Everyone gravitates into a consciousness that sees no purpose or draw in a wide range of negative behaviors. It's not a resistance to them. They simply hurt just to conceptualize. This is why it is so crucial to accept the boundaries and limitations of the body-mind-spirit integration. You essentially agree to accept a form of spiritual, physical pain as a mechanism to prevent you from generating unhealthy realities. Within these limitations, you naturally gravitate to generating love. Without much resistance, you refocus on creativity and you accept what is possible with grace. More. Many will continue to attempt to reassert the old patterns for quite some time. It is crucial that you be at peace with this. It is painful to watch the depth of devastation from a more conscious awareness. It is crucial that you be at peace with this. In many cases, the best way you can help is to witness with compassion. This will literally affect the magnetic field of karmic interactions in a way that diminishes them. In some cases, you will be called to action to more clearly participate in asserting dominance over negative patterns within humanity. It is crucial that you embrace this with empowerment and a joy that you are helping to remove the forces that have inhibited your ability to live in the love you know is possible. This is work. It is a transitional time that will last decades. Be at peace with it. More. You must allow yourself to grieve as you watch others hurt each other in ways that have been normal within humanity, and yet you are numb to. It is your conscious, loving witness that reshapes the frequencies around the fields that enable such patterns to continue. Gather to share these times in sacred witness. They're telling me to encourage that. We do that together. That is enough.
So the message being patience and understanding and prayer and just doing the work as things move around us, because it's going to keep moving. That like nothing's going to be stable for quite some time.
So I'm obviously sort of moving between a sort of pure channeled space, and in that space, a lot more than the words are coming through. Like I'm getting I'm in. It's all there.
Wow.
And so then I can be more like Daniel unpacking that. They're suggesting, there's just this knowing this. It's like, if you focus too clearly on a loving future, it will function like a gas pedal. So they're teaching the brake and the gas at the same time. They're saying like, you gotta not just floor it towards a future of love in this way, because there are extra consequences to evoking that consciousness 5 decades before it's more empowered and with a greater support.
Right. Yeah, like the structures won't be there to stay stable enough to ensure that it happens.
And so it'll create suffering.
Gotcha.
You'll go into it and then feel totally tragic that we're so far away from it, and be incapacitated, not being able to function.
Right.
They're tuning us into what will work.
And how we will work to work together to get there. It's a process. It's about the journey more specifically.
And a lot of what they're emphasizing in this moment, in this focus, is it is far more actively influential to be able to witness negative dynamics and don't maintain numbness. Like, oh God, it's so awful people are treating each other this way. This is an action. If those feelings were never present, the magnetism of them wasn't part of the equation. When the magnetism of our true feeling is there, it erodes the kind of hard boundary around a lot of ugly competitive subcultures in humanity.
Yeah.
Wow, it's a lot.
Well, our participation matters is the message.
And a real emphasis on like sometimes really and truly witnessing with compassionate prayer is the best thing we can do. Right.
And if we feel triggered by the experiences we are seeing, then there's aspects of ourselves that need healing.
It's this circle. It's like keep taking it into yourself, work on those things, take some space, back off, then go to the edge, witness the pain, be in it, back off. Make sure you turn that back into a more empowered, loving life.
Yeah. Gas break, gas break. We are coming to the end here. Just the last question, and I think many people do have this question. How can I establish a deeper connection with Thoth?
Hearing.
I knew you were going to say that.
It's reinforce it and then allow it to unfold. So practicing the key ring activates the 12 chakras. And then at first it's just an action. It's like tuning yourself. Then you start to become more subtly aware of the differences. Like, how are you sensing each chakra? As you become aware of those differences, that itself is teaching you how to reframe focus. So it's saying, put this emphasis in your life for a while. You got lots of shoulder issues. Put emphasis in your life on more consciously creating priorities and channeling love into what you're doing, and to refusing to get entangled with commitments that are not loving. And so you can have the peace to know that this is really where your effort is most valuable in your spiritual path right now. It's not linear. The beauty of the key ring is it goes a full circle and brings you back. And so don't think of it as, I learned this, and then I learned this, and then I'm at stage 3, and then I'm at stage 4. It's not like that. You, Sarah, what's the chakra that's been acting up most for you lately?
I mean, I think maybe the back of my, the lungs, my back here.
Yeah, I sort of was wondering if I'd
picked
the right one, you know.
Yeah, I was wondering if you did too.
So there's the language, you know, like when it's your back, really is this simple. When it's your back, it's stuff that's unconscious spiritually. So you associate that with the theme of the lungs. Is it more on the left or the right?
It's on the right.
So when it's on the right, it means there's something about the logical patterns of your assertion. You're asserting something in your life that isn't really ideal. Like, it's not how you'd like to spend most of your time. And you're not asserting what you would like to spend more of your time on. Start with time. Time works well with the lungs. Just like how is your time being apportioned? And so the real incredible, it's a simple step, but it's so liberating to kind of deepen your spiritual life, is to be able to trust that the chakras are actually pointing to you what is most valuable to focus on. And then you can just relax into that. You're not all scattered and remembering this and this and this, and you're like, okay, no, really and truly, if I do this work, it's going to put me in a better position. And the more it works, the more you're like, you just trust it, because you know the next thing is there's a deeper presence to the next challenge, and you recognize how the work ends up paying off.
And that opens your inner channel. That opens your ability to connect to Thoth or whoever may be waiting for the connection to occur, right?
Absolutely. And in this, like, one of the biggest problems in making these connections is that people develop a preconception about what they think it's going to be like. If you develop a preconception about what it's going to be like, you're developing that preconception from a state where you have not experienced that yet.
Right.
So now you actually have something in the way. As soon as I try to talk to Thoth here, he talks to me here. And so it's about practicing returning yourself and kind of being centered in this flow, and respecting that you're clarifying the static. So as you remove more and more static from your mind, you learn to recognize how the moment Thoth, you want to talk to Thoth, he cares. Cares. He's always aware of it. He has as far as we're concerned, he has an infinite capacity to connect with different people at once. Time is not linear in this engagement.
Right.
But what he's doing is he's saying, oh, you want to talk to me, huh? Really? You sure? If you talk to me, I'm probably going to tell you to stop going to lunch with that person. Oh, you're still going to go to lunch because you feel guilty. So your guilt is more important than talking to me. That's the conversation he's having with you already.
Wow. Yeah, I was going to say that he is likely in contact with the people who are interested. Like Emiliano, you asked that question. He's probably in contact with you already. It's just a matter of you tuning in to listen or clear the static, as you say.
And typically, one of the best there are lots of different phases of this, but it's an incomplete metaphor, but you can use a fluid metaphor. You get a drip. How do you handle that drip? That drip is a sacred essence. You want a stream when you didn't know how to handle a drip? That's a head trip.
Right.
You got the drip. Where was it? Oh, you held it with doubt. I noticed someone posted on the community, the public question.
Yeah.
Is that him? Is that not him? Yes, it's him.
Right.
But are you honoring the reply? The reply's already there.
Mm-hmm.
When I first learned to be able to do this, I would get a drip. It would often be a sentence. I would remember the sentence. I would hold the sentence, and the sentence gave me sort of access to a resonance. Then I had to learn to go between the mental sentence and the resonance. And then holding the resonance more, and it would unfold like a flower. Message is like a flower. And then cherishing that message and integrating it into the rest of my life. And that's where a lot of people stall. So what they're really doing is resisting the consequences of integrating it, because the consequences will set in motion things that are a little bit beyond your control. It changes your magnetism. You will literally start to repel people who your mind is saying you're not ready to make that decision. So you're granting your spirit the power to make decisions. It's kind of scary. So that stays subconscious, and then people start to say, oh, I'm not really sure if it's Thoth.
Interesting. I know when I first started the work with you, Wildflowerfire, funny how the word flowers in there. Funny, not funny. I would say, I don't know a lot. I don't know about this. I don't know if I'm getting this. But I think most people are receiving the intuition and the guidance. And it's how do you handle that trust, that drip?
So it becomes a question like, are people just basically, kind of like duct taping themselves to mainstream reality and then dipping their toe in the world, and then at the slightest confusion saying, it's not real.
Right.
When I connect with Thoth, you keep going. I still go through plenty of times where I just wake up in a mood where I'm like, this is too incredible. Maybe I'm full of shit. It happens all the time. And I just move through it.
Yeah.
And so you go and you keep going.
And keep going. Yeah. I think, that's also part of the journey of the courses that you offer is, you can start it. It's exciting to start a new course and you get it online and it's super easy, guys. Whoever's listening to this, just go into wildflowerfire.com. The courses are on there. Daniel does offerings. He can do channelings or a private session with you to start. But yeah, it's super exciting.
So to follow this course is to say, Thoth will show you something that gets your attention, draws your action, motivates you into joy. But then if you attach everything to the attainment of that, you'll slip. So you have to follow this journey and shift. And so you're saying, I want to talk to Thoth. I want an existential vision like Daniel. And Thoth says, do the key ring. Why are you tensing your shoulders? And then if you don't do the work to face why you're tensing your shoulders, that's where the whole process stops.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once I tried to reject Thoth for a couple years because I was so overwhelmed by this shit. And he's like, what? You think you could hide there? It's not going to work. And I was like, oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So the flywheel is moving, whether everyone is prepared for it or not. And it's an easier ride if we start to do the work and clear.
And it's fun.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's so you if you refocus your attention on doing the key ring and then work on the shoulders, you'll make progress.
Yeah.
You get the sense of satisfaction.
Yeah. Well, and that brings us full circle because our first question was, how does the body let go of the remembrance of separation easily? And really, everything we've talked about is you let the flower go, but, you're coming back to a newness and there is no real separation. You're just moving away and coming back again.
Yes. And once we do, and once that's normal, we're weaving a web of connection. And then that's where we're going. We're going into this creation of a universal consciousness within the body. So you kind of get both. It's a beautiful challenge. And from the perspective of our soul, we chose to do this because it was so fucking cool. So like, do it. Like, this is what we chose to do. Don't be somewhere else. Don't be in your memory of, well, you'll get to go to Alpha Centauri or Jupiter. Like, do it later. Like, be here.
Yeah, that's such a great way to end. Like, that's, you know, we all chose this. And I think it does change your perspective. You're like, oh, okay, I'm here. All right. But what should I do now? Maybe I shouldn't just do the 9 to 5, or maybe I should just have a bit of fun somewhere. But yeah.
Better to light a candle than to curse the darkness.
Yeah. So true. Well, thank you, Daniel. I'm glad we did another. So it was meant to be.
Awesome.
Have a great day.
Thank you. Love be with you and your family.